To create a class, we will want to be under teacher.goguardian.com, and on the left-hand side, we will want to be under Classroom. Now we have two options here on the right-hand side. We can either import from a currently existing Google Classroom, or we can add a classroom manually. In this case, I'll add a classroom manually. For classroom name, we'll just use test class. Subject line, I'll just make this a math class. Description, I'll just do test for now. We can set a classroom icon. We'll just do it as a star, and we can set a classroom tile color for your user interface. I'll just leave that at the blue. Scenes, this is basically filtering options for your class. We'll go over this later. I'll go ahead and hit add classroom. Now we have three ways to add students. We can either have them enroll in a link by emailing them a certain code that they'll be able to then use. I can show you what that looks like. So you can send that link to your students, and then they'll have an enroll code that they can then join your class. You can do a CSV import by uploading emails to a spreadsheet and then uploading it here. In this case, I'll just add them manually. So for this test user, I'll do 24 stu test at BG Schools, and we'll go ahead and add students. So now my student has been enrolled in my class. Now that we've created a class and added students, we can now view that classroom setting. So back here under the Classrooms tab on the left-hand side, on our class that we just created, our test class, we'll see the Settings tab here on the top right. This gives you a more list view of all your different settings. So we can add a co-teacher, add students, archive our classes, view our sessions, and all these other settings. If we want a more detailed view of each one of these settings, we can click on the class directly. Under our main settings, these are the info section or the initial class settings that we had set. So if we wanted to go back and set a scene, we could do that here. Scheduling, this would be for scheduling like your red black day sessions. When these classes repeat, we can set custom repeat days. And so if you have 3 red classes this week, we can go in and schedule that class to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Reporting. This would give you an email at the end of each session to give reports on student activity during your class and things along those lines. Teachers, these are where we can add those teachers to those classes. Recordings, these are where your session recordings would go if you recorded your session that day. Students, this is obviously where we go to add more students. And then sessions. So we can view our current and past sessions here once we have them created, or we can go ahead and start a session manually, which is what I will go ahead and do. Now let's talk about scenes. Scenes are individual filtering policies that can either be applied to the student level, to the session level, or to the class level. We have two options for filtering policies. We have an allowed websites list and a blocked websites list. Allow websites means students can only access websites that you've allowed. So anything else that you haven't allowed will be blocked for the student in your class during whatever session length you have set. Or you have blocked website list, which they can browse any website except the ones that you have specifically blocked. So let's go ahead and create a blocked websites list for YouTube. So say students are on YouTube today and they're getting distracted, so I don't want them to see YouTube today. I can go ahead and create a list, and I can say no YouTube, and then add a description, no YouTube, and then I can set an icon color. We'll set it to red for YouTube. We'll go ahead and up here click next. Now we can we can either enter keywords. We can create a quick list. So these are lists that people have already specified. We can do an advanced filtering. So we can enter the website section specifically. In this case, I'm just going to do a keyword for YouTube, and I'm going to go ahead and search. So now we have YouTube, youtube.com. I'm going to go ahead and add that to my list, and we can see that under the no YouTube block list, YouTube is currently being blocked. We can also set a tab limit here on the bottom right. Basically what this does is just it limits the amount of tabs that students can open. For instance, if I want, if I'm opening a bunch of tabs as a student, I can limit that to say, hey, you can only have these 2 tabs open. So I can set, a 2-tab limit for that. In this case, we'll do no limit. And then once you have all your policies or all your websites that you want to have blocked for this scene, we can go ahead and hit save. And now we have a no YouTube block list. Now let's go over our different session settings. So now I'm back into the overall classroom tab. I can see that I have a current session running here in the top left of the screen. I can also see what sessions I am running when I go into that class individually. So I'll go ahead and go to the session. So right now we can see 24 Stu Test is logged in here. He's the only student I have in my classroom, and I will get a rotating thumbnail every 5-10 seconds, however long it is. I can also expand the selection to see his 24 Stu Test individual screen, and I have a couple different options here. I can make an announcement to that student. I can exclude that student from the session, so if I don't want to see that student, or if that student's not here today, I can exclude that student from this current session. I can also open a new tab, so I'll actually show you what the student sees here. So if I wanted to open a new tab of google.com, I can open that website on his Chromebook. And you can see now google.com is opened on that student's device. I can also choose to lock his device. So I can say, pay attention, and then I can lock that student's screen. And so you can see now browsing has been disabled with the message of pay attention. And I can go ahead and unlock that device once it's back up. I can also take a screenshot of the student's screen if they have something inappropriate on their screen. I can also annotate on that student's device by clicking the annotate button and say, hey, look at this Google search button right here. And then you'll see on the bottom right hand side, there's a little annotation on where I want the student to look. There's also a chat feature here. So if I need to if I want to say, hey, do you have a question on the test or whatever, I can send a message. It's like, do you have a question? And then it will notify the student here in the bottom right, and I can then view the message here on the student's device, and it will pop up a new chat window. Another thing I can do is I can go ahead and apply a scene. So we created that YouTube scene, that no YouTube scene earlier. So we can go ahead and select that, and we can select what students we want. So say if we want to do it on everyone in this class, or hey, 24 Stu Test, you are just on YouTube a lot today. I'm just going to do you, and then apply the scene. So now what would happen is if I went to YouTube on that student's device, in theory, they should get blocked. So youtube.com, and they should, in theory, see a block page. So yep, so we can see it looks like you've reached a website your teacher does not want you to browse right now. So that's how scenes would work in that scene list that we've created. Some other settings under the session tab, we can see timelines. So this would be just showing an active timeline of the websites that each student would be on. So we can see that we were on the Google tab for a little bit, and we were on that we've been on that Goguardian block page for a little while. We can also see screenshots that we've taken during that session. Call students. Currently we have the voice only and video call presentation disabled. We do have lecture or presentation, so we could start a lecture here, and we have the option to enable camera, enable microphone, present screen, record the presentation, or lock students to the presentation. So in this case, let's go to a PowerPoint here, and we can present our screen, and we'll lock students to this session. So we'll select the screen for students to present to. We'll select all students, and we will choose what to share. So we'll choose entire screen, and we'll do this screen for that has this super cool PowerPoint on it. So we'll go ahead and start sharing. Our presentation is loading, and now we can see that the PowerPoint is now being presented to the student through the lecture. We'll go ahead and stop presenting here. Pair deck, we don't have to worry about that. And then we also have check-ins, so we can start a check-in with a student on how they're feeling about a certain piece of coursework or however you plan on utilizing that. That's basically it for the basics of the classroom session tools. I do encourage you to kind of explore this and utilize it however you see fit. So last couple of things here, we just got the calendar and student reports. So the calendar, this would just be an overview of your calendar that you can see all on one screen, kind of, you know, how you'd have a Google Calendar. You can see, oh, I have classes this day. We can go up here. We could schedule a session if we wanted to, but it's a calendar. It's pretty basic. We can see our overall schedule here. Lastly, under student reporting, we can select a classroom. So we'll select that test class. We can select that student that we want to see the report for, and we can set a date range, and then we can view the report or email the report to ourselves to see their browsing activity. So we'll go ahead and view a report for today, and so we can see that on this day, they've spent 28 minutes on the school website, 6 minutes on that Goguardian block page, and 1 minute on that Google.com, and then on that presentation screen. And then we can see that one block site, because we went to that YouTube page, and then we can see all their various different activity here. So if you come into if you see an instance, you know, a student, you spotted a student on a bad website or something, you can then pull the report for that student and then give that to administration. But that basically covers the basics of Goguardian Teacher. So if you have any questions, feel free to email us at the tech department, and we'd be happy to kind of guide you through anything that you're having trouble with and kind of give you some guidance there. All right, thank you.